some of the points that he had raised in that exchange. But what I want to understand now is, what is your strategy for the road selection?
Okay, so the strategy came naturally. We have very few corridors in our country that links east-west, south, north of the country. So for instance, if you were in Takoradi and you want to go to the western north of the country, not western north in terms of region, i.e. if you want to go to Wa or Hamile, you will need to traverse the road from Takoradi all the way through Wenchi, Sola, all the way to Wa, and maybe heading back to Hamile. If you were in Tema and you want to go to, let's say, Damanko, you would have to travel all the way through Hohwe, Jasikan, Pasa, all the way to that side. None of these roads, if you were to travel on them, would be anything that you'll be happy about. But you'll be surprised that a chunk of what you and I will consume today in terms of staples, rice, yam, and maize and other things have to traverse that terrible route. And it is just clear in our mind that if we improve the road network in those areas, we first of all are improving the lot of the Ghanaian farmer across the country. We are also actually opening up the country up for better business and more productivity, because the longer hours you travel, the damage to the vehicles, pollution and other things. And also, if you were to try to move from the northern part, let's say Wa to Bolga, currently, it is completely neglected. You will be surprised you are driving in Ghana if you were to travel along that route. And then if you were, for instance, Accra, even if you were to be, today is Sunday, in few hours, our compatriots coming from, let's say, Aflao, trying to enter Accra will have to go through hell just because of the traffic from all the way Central University heading into Tama and Accra. If you were to be trying to go into Kumasi from Accra, you suffer the same thing trying to enter Kumasi. So there's a need for us to develop what other countries have tried and tested, loops around Accra, so that we can detour if you don't have any reason to be in Accra. Kumasi is the second most important city in Ghana. If you go there now, the traffic isn't working. A few of the traffic heading from Accra don't necessarily want to have anything to do in Kumasi. They were just using it as a thoroughfare. They were going through. So the president's vision is that we should do a loop around Kumasi, so that if you don't intend to go to Kumasi, you can just do a detour around Kumasi and head elsewhere. Tamale is probably one of the fastest growing cities in West Africa. It's not working traffic-wise. It's limiting productivity. Sunyani the same. So the selection of the projects are as simple as this. We want to complete the Western Corridor. That is Wenchi all the way to Wa to Hamele. We want to do Wa to Bolga. We want to complete the Eastern Corridor from Tema all the way to Damanko, and then maybe from Bintri and beyond. So it is not, you don't have to think about what to do, because the problem is staring us all in the face. So it's quite easy to select. And the second part is those projects that were awarded by the predecessor government, but without any dedicated source of fund. For instance, you saw the number of threats and eventual demonstration about Ofankor Road. It is a project awarded at a cost of about $340 million on GOG budget in dollars. The contractor has done some work, raised certificate of $77 million, and was not paid. So he basically more or less packed off the site. The public doesn't understand that it is simply because the previous government did not pay the bill. So we take over power. In a few months' time, we are expected to pay the $77 million, which is money due the contractor. Fortunately, I mean, the finance minister started disbursement of some funds to the contractor. To the Ofankor contractor? Exactly. Okay. My information is that as of the close of last week, over 400 million Ghana cedis have been paid towards that, because the public says that despite the fact that there are many road projects which have been stalled, this is priority of priorities. I mean, that is why everybody was like, fix this, fix this. And then... Right, so then, hang on, before you move on, we should expect some work to be done on the Ofankor Street. Without a doubt. If you are a contractor, we pay you that kind of money. We have prioritized your project amongst others, I expect.
You can say that, but remember also that the contractor is owed for work done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So
if
tomorrow morning,
400 million cedis,
yes,
right?
Yes.
It could be that it's only deferring a bit of what he's done already.
That is not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Received other payments in the past.
Okay.
So without a doubt, I'm expecting that contractor's activity on site to scale up significantly from this week because it's received some money. Because I know contractors also have received nothing and they are still on site working. So without a doubt, I'm expecting a significant scaling up of activity on site. And then when you go to Kaswa to Winneba Road, it's also GOG. That is in excess of $400 million as well. I must say, that particular contractor never actually slowed down really, had been working consistently. The president says that though these projects were awarded by the previous administration, the importance of this project means that we cannot wait. So we should prioritize them the same way his own flagship big push projects are prioritized. So we innovate those contracts onto a big push and put them under the same funding. If you go to Kumasi, the how do you call it, the flyover that is supposed, the interchange that is supposed to be built there, which has stalled because it's a supplier's credit, and then we can't find the money. We are taking on that project as additional big push project so that we can finance them within the same framework. So there are 2 or 3 categories of roads that we are prioritizing currently. The original big push project, the project we are innovating onto big push, which have been started. But there's one particular one that when my colleagues in NPP talk about, and I keep telling them, we need to be careful about this. The Agona to Takoradi project, which is a very important project as well. That project was also awarded before our colleagues left power, also in dollars. The contractor has raised 4 different certificates. The total of those certificates is $68 million. From the beginning to date, not a dollar was paid. Yet to hear my colleagues talking about pay the contractor, a number of the certificates were raised when they were there. Why didn't they pay them? So yes, we have taken over administration. President Mahama never said he's not going to complete this project, and he's taking the challenge, and we are determined to make sure that those projects are completed. So that is the difference between us and the new party.
Indeed. You said a number of things, so I want to take us back slightly. Yeah. A lot of the roads you say will connect farms to good transportation, so to speak, right? But how many of these roads are actual feeder roads that lead to farm gates?
Okay, so the ones I've mentioned currently are the main arteries in the country. Okay. The Eastern Corridor, Western Corridor, East-West, and then the loops around the country. There's a different program to link the feeder roads. Okay. If you watch Parliament last 2 weeks, last 2 Fridays to be specific, Parliament passed a new legislation, which is the Road Maintenance Trust Fund. We are converting the existing road fund to a Road Maintenance Trust Fund. Yes, the original idea about the road fund was for road maintenance, but it still since lost its focus. So, for instance, there can be a year where a road minister can decide that in a region or a district, very little is spent on the lesser known roads, because the idea is that when you build interchange, then you can do a picture of it in campaign and say we've done this. But the bulk of the productive roads in our country leads to places of agro-processing and other things. Right. And those are not fanciful ones. When you build a feeder road, nobody actually sees it as anything. So the president's focus is that for the next 3.5 years, we should also, whilst we are doing the main arteries, the feeders onto the main spines of the country are the feeder road. That is the one that is leading to the yam growing area, the cashew growing area, the tourism area and other things. And that is where he came up with this big idea of at least 5,000 kilometers of roads within those catchment areas to link the feeder road.
So which means you are referring to the 166 constituencies that you plan to construct roads in.
Exactly.
The roads there are feeder roads.
Exactly. So these roads came up simply because I went around the 16 regions. Indeed, there's a clear disparity in terms of distribution of national resource in terms of road across the country. When I went around the country, I went to some regions that it was difficult to see any active road project. And you can get into another region that 25 contractors are actively working. It shows a clear, decision to realign, reset the way we spend.
Right.
Currently, about 70-75% of our budget on road is spent on Greater Accra, Ashanti, Eastern, and some few regions. Some regions get very little of that. The reset is basically trying to say that those districts, for instance, I was in part of Bono and then Ahafo. I saw piles of cashew in sacks by the roadside. It took me hours to get to those locations. I have no doubt that it was going to be difficult for any car to come here and cut those sacks of cashew that farmers toiled years to grow to the center that will be sold and money brought back to the farmers. There's no doubt that you needed to have a program to construct roads to those areas so that the farmer can get value. The farmer can have a reason to go back to the farm and grow more cashew, which is a big international commodity currently. So I believe that those are the basis of the 166. We are just saying that those 166 districts appear to be...
Wait, is it districts or constituencies?
Districts, yes.
Okay.
But don't forget that most districts are related to the constituency. Adaklu is one district, one constituency. So that is how we came about it. So it is not an arbitrary selection in favor of one location or the other, but we believe that in terms of equity, they have a lesser investment. Whilst if we were to increase the investment, we believe they can also unlock their potentials in terms of agro processing and other things to feed into the government's 24-hour economy program.
But